about end-of-life matters with some grant funding that we got from the Hospice Foundation of the Ozarks. So thank you to the Hospice Foundation for funding the series and the new materials. And one of the books that we've added is called Online Afterlives. It's by David Sisto, and it's kind of a philosophical look at the digital legacy that we leave behind when we die, and questions that arise from that. Even as far as, in this digital culture, the appropriate way to take selfies at a funeral and things of that nature, but also
really?
how much, yes, people do that. It's part of the day and age that we live in, and so he gives suggestions on when that might be appropriate, when it might not be, reflecting on how we treat each other, the view of death when there's an online presence of someone that doesn't go away. There's pitfalls and benefits to that in the grieving process.
That's very interesting because, it's kind of the one way we are immortal.
It is.
Once it's out there forever.
It is.
But it's like a whole new etiquette to learn also.
Very much so. And whose property is that once you're gone? There was a case recently in Canada where I believe the woman has lost her case against Apple. She's trying to get the files from her husband, who had a terminal cancer, I believe it was, and wanted her to write his story, but she can't get those files.
Wow.
And even with doing everything that she needed to, she's having trouble. So it's a lot of questions.
Philosophical look, but probably legal things in the future as we just continue on with more and more information. Very interesting.
Very much.
What's next on the docket there?
So then we have Red Queen. So I like to think of this one kind of as Hunger Games meets Game of Thrones, if anybody would be into that kind of combination.
It's a little more lighthearted than your last one.
It is a little more lighthearted. If you're looking to immerse yourself into a series, what I like about this one is it's one of 4. All 4 of the titles are out, so you don't have that wait for like the next year to wait for the next title to come out.
That's always a good thing.
And it's got all those great young adult tropes that we're getting used to, the love triangles, the teens that overtake the government, all of those kind of things. They're very fast-paced. I read the first 3 inside of a month. So if you want to nestle down with something, but you don't want to get too philosophical right now, that might be a good one.
This is just little escapist kind
Very
of
much
literature?
escapist, very fantasy. It's the reds versus the silvers. The reds are the commoners, if you will, and the silvers are the elite class, and they have superhuman powers. So Maribero kind of infiltrates the silver world and through a twist of fate, and then you see what comes of that through the stories.
Superpowers everywhere.
That sounds fun. That sounds fun.
It was a very fun read.
So what's the third one then?
So the third one, a lot of people are probably familiar with Crazy Rich Asians, the movie that was out a few years ago.
Yes.
How can you forget Awkwafina as Pick Lynn? Well, it's also part of a series. There are 3 books in the Crazy Rich Asians series. So if you liked the movie or you liked the first book, I would encourage you to check out the second 2, China Rich Girlfriend and Rich People Problems. This is going to date me, but if you liked Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, or you like the Real Housewives series, you'd probably like this peek into the world of just beyond imaginable wealth that is described in these books. But there's also some drama, there's some intrigue, and you get to know the families a lot better.
This is one great thing about the library, of course, is I didn't know that there were other parts to the story.
Right.
But now it's right in front of my face. Now I can see. Now you get a much wider view. I kind of like that idea.
You really get into the family dynasty of the main family that they introduce in the movie, but it doesn't wrap up in that nice, neat little Hollywood package that they give you.
Always, it's the backstory. I love those kind of books too, where you flesh out those characters.
Me too. And there's a lot in this one. One tip for readers, the hard copies have family trees and hysterical footnotes. I listen to all of the books, and so they read the footnotes in there also, but if you would like the benefit of the family tree, definitely check out the print copies.
I like the textile book in my hand.
Oh,
anyway.
sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for me. If people want more information or they want to find titles, how do they do that with the library?
So you can always go to thelibrary.org. And the complete schedule of the death and dying events is on thelibrary.org/death, along with the new books that we've added to the collection.
Great.
Very good. Sarah, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
We
you all.
appreciate it. All right. Up next, Matt Vereen joins us to give us an overview of what's going on in the world of sports.
Needless to say, there's a lot to cover, so we'll be right back.